Hi. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today, I thought that I would do a little review on the newest theatrical release, Beast. Now, this is kind of more of a suspense thriller type of movie. It's not exactly horror, but there are some parts that are scary, horror-esque, but I'd say it's more of like a thriller. So I saw this movie recently with my husband, and first and foremost, let me just say that I enjoyed it, okay? I actually really liked this movie. If you don't know what this movie is about, it is about a family on a trip to Africa, and whilst there, they are encountered with a vicious lion, and they are trapped in their car, unable to escape because the lion is terrorizing them. All right, right outside of their car. So they're kind of just trapped in there, and it's kind of a survival thriller. It's a suspense survival thriller. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, it was very good. It was good because it's exactly what you are expecting. You know what I mean? So how I described it, that is exactly what you get. All right, you get some drama, you get a little bit of chaos in there, a little bit of spooky spook with this crazy lion, and that's basically what the entirety of the movie is. Because of that, that is why I liked it. If you just want to go see a movie that is fun to watch because it's kind of suspenseful and it kind of has you a little bit on the edge of your seat, or kind of just like, what are you doing, like at the TV? You know what I mean? Like, what's like, oh my gosh, you need to go over here, you need to do this. It kind of engages you in the film. If you want to watch a movie like that, I highly encourage you to watch this movie. All right, it is exactly that. It had me on the edge of my seat. It had me kind of like I was talking to the film, being like, what? Why would you go there? Why would you do that? Which we are going to be talking about in a little bit. The writing, good. The music, okay. Oof. The soundtrack for this film popped off. All right, I loved it. It made me emotional in some scenes. All right, and that is also, I will give credit to the writing as well. It made me emotional in certain scenes, and the ending. I'm not gonna give any spoilers. I don't know if I said this. There's not gonna be any spoilers for this, but the ending was just. It was perfect. How everything kind of concluded, it was a perfect ending. I was like, yes, I'm feeling this. And the music, I was like, oof, my heart, like, it was so good because it was just such a good, it's just like one of those movies where the setup really and the ending like really paid off because of that setup. You know what I mean? They were building up to something, maybe you kind of forgot about it in the middle of the movie, and in the end you're like, ah yes, that one thing, yes. It was just so perfect, honestly. Now, the acting was amazing as well. Now, I will say this. There were some things that the characters did that seemed irrational, all right? It seemed unlogical. Just typical, and like I said, this is kind of a typical thriller-esque movie. And if you know what I'm talking about, typical thrillers where characters are like, the killer's outside, let me go check if he's still out there. And you're kind of screaming at the screen like, why would you go outside if the killer is still out there? You know what I mean? There were kind of things like that. They're like, I think it's okay to do this now, and you're just like, why? Those things didn't make sense, but it's not too big of a fault for me because that's just kind of what you get with thriller, suspenseful movies, and that's not something that's gonna bring me down too much. But honestly, yeah, just like I said, if you just want to have a fun time watching a movie, I highly encourage you to go and check this one out. Something that kind of frustrated me, but it's honestly not that big of a deal and it's not too uncommon, is that the studio that produced this movie isn't allowing any movie theater to accept free passes to go watch this for the first 2 weeks that the movie is released. So that was a little frustrating, but honestly, not the biggest deal in the world, but just something to keep in mind. And I will say this, there were parts that were scary. There were like painful things that you were seeing throughout the movie. Certain scenes kind of just had me wincing and retreating back. The lion is scary, all right? I am terrified. It was spooky. Now, again, you know, kind of just like a typical thriller aspect is like they have to have some sort of pre-existing dilemma. You know, like, oh, maybe a parent died, maybe there's an estranged relationship, maybe, you know, whatever. Some sort of fault in the dynamic, in the characters' relationship with one another, which is what's gonna be significant later on in the film. Now, they definitely had that for this one. I'm not gonna say what it was. The payoff, okay, so the payoff was good. I will say that. The payoff was good because I was watching it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of sad because we know the relationship between the characters. But I'll say this. I don't know how much sense this is gonna make. The relationship between a specific character that probably wasn't meant to be as significant was more impactful for me rather than the one that is supposed to be impactful. You know what I mean? So I'll leave you with that. Take with that what you will, but I will say that the setup and the payoff otherwise for everything else was good. And there were a lot of different directions that this movie could have gone, and it didn't. It just went with your traditional trapped in the car line movie because there is some sort of, not commentary, but there is a prevalent theme of poaching in this movie. And I thought that it was going to take kind of like a commentary stand or direction with that, but it didn't. So I don't really think that's a spoiler because, like I said, this is just a typical thriller movie and that is all that it is, and it is good. Now, like I said, because of that, it's not the best thing, it's not the worst thing. I would say it's a little bit higher than average for me because the soundtrack was really good and it made me emotional. So out of 10, I think that I would give this maybe like an 8 out of 10. Now I'm pegging it down because there were things that were just, bruh, why are you going and doing this? Why are you doing that? Like things that the characters were doing that you know in a different sense being, you know, real life, that you know that in real life, maybe they wouldn't do that, you know what I mean? And they would make decisions that I'd be like, but why though? Now, again, it didn't peg me down too much because I know that this is a movie, this is all fictional, and I am watching something right now, and this is for my entertainment. So, and they probably did all that stuff because they want the viewer to react like how I did, being like, bro, why are you doing that? Why? What is the reason? So, there are some frustrating parts with that, but again, it's a fun movie. All right, I liked it. With that said and done, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons, and especially to Matt O'Keefe, AJ, Mark Sylvester, Edward Fisher, and Amber. Thank you so much, guys, and make sure to go ahead and check out my Patreon if you haven't already. Alright, so if you want to give general support or get videos earlier than when I post them here on YouTube, or access to the private Discord where we can chat and vibe and talk about movies and all of that jazz, then I highly encourage you to check out my Patreon. Link will be in the description. You can join for $1, $5, or $10, and also get access to full-length reaction videos as well. So, if any of that tickles your fancy, once again, link will be in the description below. Alright, so if you have seen this movie already, comment below, tell me what you thought. I'm really curious to see what everyone else thought about this. Did they like that it was kind of just like a normal kind of thriller suspense movie, or were they expecting or wanting something more? Because I wasn't really expecting something more. I just was there for a good time, and that's what I got, alright? So, comment below, or if you're excited for any other upcoming movies, let me know because I will definitely be checking those out. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of that jazz, and as always, thanks for watching.